So welcome back to another tutorial, and this one we're going to go through FX Bullsheet Backtesting software. Key thing to note is that it's an open beta, so currently there is small inconvenient bugs that exist. We are working on them, and they won't be present obviously for the full release. But for now, we really wanted the ability to give all our traders the ability to backtest basically within our platform. It's something that's coming very soon on full release, and we thought we'd open the beta up so people can use this. And it still works as it is, there's just a few minor inconveniences, okay? So as you can see, I already have 2 sessions open, and it'll work out the start date, the end date of the session, symbol you're trading, the account balance that's currently on the backtesting session, and then your strategy, and then the profit and loss of each of them. Now you can click it and load up an old previous session, or you can delete them if you don't want them anymore. It's no problem, but let's go ahead and set up a new session. So first of all, we'll call it whatever we want. So for example, in this one, we'll call it backtesting session 3. We'll give ourselves we'll do $25,000 value. Now try to keep this realistic. If you have a 25k funded account, or you have a 25k personal account, try trade with that capital, because if you go for like a 3 million USD account and you don't have it, your trading strategies can be completely different, okay? Your values that you're going to get rewarded with. We'll pick the symbol. So for in this example, we'll go with gold and US dollar. And the session start date, we will pick the 2nd of September. I'm just choosing a random date here I don't know, we'll do the 10th of September, okay? Now, this is important because if you're a new trader, or you're paper trading or demo trading, you can catch up quite quickly. So rather than wait for real trades to play out, which I still recommend that you do, you could backtest the session and get all that data very, very quickly, because you're not waiting for the market. You can just speed through the market, and this is real good data. Similarly, if you're an experienced trader, you might want to refine your strategy, or even trade on a day that you didn't trade because you're on holiday or doing something busy. Great to keep reevaluating your strategy. So for this one, we're going to go SMC2. Now, as you can see, I've called this SMC2. I already have an SMC strategy, but perhaps we want to actually change something ever so slightly, and that's where you might want to call it something slightly different. And there's a reason for this, because later we can compare strategies. Now, if I call this SMC, and I've got another SMC session with 2 different symbols, it will find out which was the best session, and that will become a symbol. So it'll say your best symbol trading SMC was Euro USD. But in this scenario, I just want to focus on the gold value of SMC, and so I'll call it that. Now, all the trades I'm about to make in this backtesting software are not real. Obviously, I'm just going to randomly place them at any point. So this is not an SMC strategy. It's not a breakout strategy or anything like that. I'm just going to place them randomly to showcase the features. So we'll go ahead and start session. Now, first thing you'll see is obviously the charts will load, and it will load a lot of previous data for you as well. This is great because it allows you to look at key values previously for your start date. Now, one thing we don't do at FX Bullsheet is allow you to rewind time. So if you accelerate time, you can't go back. Well, without a feature, there is a way of doing it, and I'll show that in a second. And the reason we created it like this is because we felt like if we pull back time to here now, you've seen this and you know the trajectory that was going in. So we kind of want to keep it cheat free. There is a way of doing this. So if I was to say skip time, say here, and now we're on the 2nd of September. If I want to go back, because maybe I forgot to press pause, we can just come off it and genuinely just load it back up, and it'll go back to your original start date, because it doesn't auto save unless you press save and exit session. It will auto save if you place the trade, because then obviously you've actually done something within the session. So as I've shown you there, we have a playback which you can drag and drop anywhere you want. You've got the play button, and you've got the skip to the next candle. You have change speed, so it will render a different candle. So for example, in this one, we've now set it to render 7 candles per second. So it's quite fast. If you want to reset, just click that little button and go back to 1 candle per second. You can slow down time as well if you really want to. The next thing I do is load up any interval I want to be using. So for example, 4 hours, I might want to use the 15-minute as well. This just speeds it up later on because you're not waiting for it to load. So now we have all the candles. We go back to the time frame we want to analyze, and there's several different ways of utilizing to place a trade in FX Bullsheet. So the first one is to just genuinely allow it to calculate a random trade based off your risk and risk reward and risk amount. So as you can see here, I press 1 and it's going to use automated TP and stop loss. So it's going to work out automatically to hit 1% risk, it sets the stop loss, and to get a 2 to 1 a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, it'll work out your take profit levels as well. Let's say you don't want to do that and you want to do a manual stop loss and manual take profit. Click this button here, okay, and you could change this to whatever value you want, and it will automatically calculate your new risk to reward and your risk amount. Okay. The other thing as well is if you adjust your lot size at any point, it will automatically update that as well. If you go back to your automated stop loss and take profit, you can just obviously change the risk amount to whatever you want it to be, or you can just use the custom click buttons. Very simple to make a trade. You can, of course, just completely skip stop loss and take profit by clicking that button there, and then you'll have no stop loss and no take profit, and you can just monitor it as you want to. Maybe that's your trading strategy. The other way of doing a trade, and I think it's the best way, is to simply use the short and long position. So if we click the long position, okay, and adjust these values to whatever you want to do it and press place new order, it will automatically calculate the stop loss and take profit levels and entry level based on what you've set. Okay, it's dead easy, and then you can obviously adjust your lot size to get to the point where you're risking 1 to 2% is obviously recommended, or you can go more if that's your strategy, but we're going to stick with this. So it's a 0.7 lot to get around about a 2% risk to reward risk. Press place order, it will set an order as a pending. Now, one of the bugs I did mention is notifications sometimes aren't working. Currently, it's just something we know and we're going to solve. The other thing is you can obviously draw anything you can do on TradingView, you can do on FX Bullsheet, because we are powered by TradingView. So if you were, for example, to draw a rectangle to maybe highlight an area of interest, you can do that, and obviously it stays between when you're switching your intervals, which is a great tool. If you're analyzing, you can just click this button here and it just expands it. It makes it a little bit easier to look at the chart in general. Okay, but let's go ahead and play this trade through and see if it triggers us in. We might not get triggered in. Okay, so I did something stupid there. So it triggered us in and instantly took us back out, because obviously the next candle I should have went down to a smaller time frame. So that was my error. Let's try that again and make it a little bit bigger just so we can actually play it out. As you can see, it automatically works out your trade. So it'll automatically work out your profit and loss for that trade. Let's try it again. We've set a new position up now. We'll do it again. Okay, so now we've been triggered in, as you can see, and already we're at a bit of a loss because it went back down within that same candle. We'll play time forward now, manually for a bit more control. In fact, we'll switch down to the 15-minute candle. Okay. So we could speed time up now as we're on smaller candles and let it play through. And as you can see, the automatically it was updating the profit and loss. Now we hit stop loss there, so there's another loss. This isn't looking great for an example, but as you can see, it updates your unrealized profit instantly and then changes your profit and loss. And as you can see, the account balance is now down by almost $1,500. Let's try get a win. So for example, let's say we're just going to place a trade without a stop loss or take profit, just for this example. So we're automatically in because we entered at market value. And as you can see, this is updating. Now, let's say you were in profit. So as we are $85 and you want to do a close or partial, you click edit trade. You could add a stop loss to this trade, or you could add the take profit to this trade. You could click this button and it'll automatically move to a break even trade. You could do a trailing stop loss, and you can set it by percentage or pips to follow, or just by a fixed price. Or you could do a partial take profit. So we're going to take a partial take profit of say 50% on this trade. Okay. Now what it does is it will close and it'll give it a P. So it's a partial trade. And if you hover over, it'll tell you exactly what the trade was. So it's a partial close of trade 3. and we've closed $42 and obviously half the position size. No stop loss, no take profit because we didn't set one. You could then play it out a little bit further, and obviously if you were to close this trade at a loss, you could, or now we could go ahead and enter a stop loss if we wished. But for now, I think we'll just close it manually. You'll get a notification to say that it's closed at a profit of X, and as you can see, there's two values there that we've got back. Now, if we save and exit the session and go to the backtesting analytic side of things, we can click on SMC2 for any strategy we've done, and it'll tell us overall what the total risk or total metrics were of that strategy. So we've won 2 wins and 2 losses, the net P&L, the average RR, and the average hold time. Again, real good data to transfer back into the real world. As I said before, if we had used the same SMC strategy as I did from another symbol, it would have worked out which symbol performed best with that strategy. You can see risk over time as well and risk per trade. Okay. Now, let's say we want to compare 2 different strategies. So we click compare, you click SMC2, and you maybe click breakout. Okay. Now we can compare the exact run-ins of each strategy. So as you can see, breakout is a better in Asian session, and SMC is better in New York session, obviously for you as a trader. You could then click generate AI report, and it will generate a report based on them 2 strategies and make suggestions for you. So for example, SMC2 has profit factor, indicating it's not a profitable strategy. It says breakout has a higher profit. That's just one metric, but if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, it'll give you an overall conclusion. So therefore, it appears breakout performs better overall in this metric. So if you want some quick analysis, it's very easy. Just press that report, read the overview of what the AI assistant is telling us, and we get a good indication of which strategy is profitable. So that's pretty much backtesting in a nutshell. It's super simple. Like I said, there is a few little bugs, but we're working on them. But you'll be able to try different strategies across multiple time frames and hopefully help you become a profitable trader.